Hi, it's Nick Stewart again from Exclusive Hot Properties here in the lockdown in Manila. And today on this video blog, I'm going to talk about El Nido Beach and Spa Resort, this passive investment. Okay, thanks very much for watching. And in this video blog, I'm going to do a quick overview of the development, the opportunities, and why it's a good reason to invest. However, please do refer to the written blog, which goes into much more detail than I'm able to do in this video, as I like to keep the videos relatively short and just give you a flavor of what's what, so to speak. El Nido Beach Resort is a 5-star frontline beach luxury resort, and it's a passive investment. And a passive investment is very simple. It's an investment that, as an investor, you put your money into, you give it back to the developer, and the developer manages the asset for you and gives you a return. Most of the passive investments that Exclusive Hot Properties get involved with are primarily what we call rental guarantee investments that have exit strategies. So in this particular instance, the project in mind has a buyback guarantee enhanced from the developer of 120% after 5 years, which is very attractive. Also, the developer offers 10% rental guarantee for the first 5 years. And during the first 2 years of construction, the developer also offers 10% cashback, which is the same as 10% rental guarantee, except the unit's not finished, but you're receiving income on your investment. That's for cash buyers. So as you can see, it's a very attractive opportunity, but also it's a great lifestyle opportunity. And I can't stress this enough. It's a 5-star beachfront resort in El Nido. Now, El Nido itself is really very interesting. It's the final frontier in Palawan. Generally speaking, there's a huge demand for this type of investment. For example, the occupancy level prior to COVID-19 was 78%. All projections based on this resort were based on 70%, but more importantly, the developer only has to make 45% occupancy to break even. So on a lot of fundamentals, it's really good. But this is a passive investment with a lifestyle element in the fact that the clients get to stay in a 5-star luxury resort for 30 days free a year, which is almost another 3.5% return on their investment. So what I'm starting to do with all these developments and investments that we're offering to our clients is I'm actually starting do an exclusive hot property scoring system, and we're using 5 major factors to do the scoring system. So rather than go into huge detail, which you can get on the written blog, I'm going to cover the 5 main points and the scoring system on why we've given the score and the score we've come to. And then we can conclude as whether it's a good thing to invest or not. Okay, so the first scoring system, which we score these, give them scores out of 20 for all 5, is the developer. So the developer, if you look at the development team, is very high caliber. So in the development team, you have Savills KMC, who have the franchise for the world-renowned Savills brand in the Philippines, and they are going to be the project managers. They have project managed many major projects in the Philippines, most importantly the Arcada Casino. And again, my view is if you can project manage the Arcada Casino on time, a resort in Palawan is a pretty easy task in comparison. They've also completed projects in Palawan itself. Then you have the hotel management company, which is Pavilions Hotels. You can Google pavilionhotels.com. They own their own resorts in Thailand, Portugal, and Hong Kong, but they manage other five-star luxury resorts throughout the world. So when you couple all that, it's a very, very good developer. The only drawback is that with the developer, this is a new, even though the team has a great deal of hospitality experience, the actual company itself is a new company specifically set up to develop this project. So for that reason, I'm giving it a score out of 18 out of 20. If it had been an established developer with a huge balance sheet, I would have given it 20 out of 20. But that's the score I'm giving the developer. So yeah, I got a little way late there, but so the second thing is the second scoring system. Again, we score out of 20 is return on capital growth. And here I'm going to give it a maximum score, and I'll give you my reasons why I'm giving it a maximum score. Number one thing on return, it is the highest in Southeast Asia, the higher returning development, with the 120% buyback guarantee from the developer. And if you pay cash upfront over a 7-year period, you're getting 190% return. Once you add the benefit in kind of the 30 days free usage, that's worth another 3.5%. So you're almost up to sort of 15-16% return per annum over a 7-year period. And then there's going to be, because there's only 100 units for sale, and you can't invest in projects like this. It's very, very hard to find projects, 5-star frontline beach projects to invest in like this. It's probably highly likely that you will be able to sell the unit in the future for more than you paid for it. There's likely to be pretty good capital growth because the base price is pretty low, as we covered in the written blog. Any comparable comparison makes it about 35% cheaper price per square meter than anything else. But I'll cover that in a later bit. But anyway, that's the reason that we would give it a full maximum score 20 out of 20. Right, the third scoring system is the actual country the project's based in, and the ease of doing business in that country. So on the country it's based in, again, on just that, you would give it a 19, a 20, because Philippines is a booming economy. Prices have gone up 150% in 5 years, and excluding COVID-19, there doesn't seem anything that's likely to change that upward growth scenario. So the only negative is that the ease of doing business in the Philippines with the taxation elements has a high degree of taxation with VAT, withholding tax, etc., etc. That would be a negative. However, the way the product is based and is managed, it's actually the contract's issued from a tax-free Malaysian state called Labuan. Please Google Labuan, you can find out for yourself. Which means all the proceeds are going to be tax-free. So what this means is the 10% you get is 10%. And for that basis, we will give that this score a 19 out of 20. Okay. Now the other score, which is a very important score, which we also give out of 20, is exit strategy, security, risk, and exit strategy. So generally, anything that has a pre-selling or an off-plan element has a degree of risk. So when we score, anything that's off-plan in our scoring system will always start from 18 and not 20. We'll always take 2 points off, because that's the way it is. However, when you add all the other factors in relation to you have the buyback guarantee from the developer after 5 and 10 years. That means you have an exit strategy. The security is very desirable. And when you couple all that, we probably take another point off, and then we're left with a score of 17 out of 20. And the final score that we score on is basically market rates and value for money. And here, this is one of the few developments. Again, we give a 20 out of 24 in this particular element. The reason we give 20 out of 20 is, which I alluded in the other score that we gave 20 out of 24, is it's 35% cheaper than anything in the marketplace, so for value for money, and it's a very appealing project. So you're going to get a very, very high return. The price per square meter is going to give you capital growth. Generally, it's probably one of the best projects we're involved with on a market rate, market condition, and value for money basis. So if you add up all those scores, together, we will then have a score of 94 out of 100. And I would suggest that this particular project, it's going to be one of the highest, to actually get a project that scores 94, more than 94 out of 100, it's going to be quite difficult. I expect to have a few developments in the 90 to 100 range, but this is obviously, I would say, in the top 5% of the projects that we actually sell. Which brings me back to my overview, right? So I think the one thing I should point out here, I am the exclusive agent and the marketing agent for the developers. The developers are close friends of mine, and therefore I just like to be completely transparent with all my clients. I personally love the project. I think it's absolutely great. And all I ask you to do when you consider, so my conclusion is more about just look at the facts, look at the project, look at everything else, and then make a decision for yourself. Because I've just told you that about my, where I'm coming from in this particular project. And I think the development and the project stands up for itself. But all I would ask you to do is look at all the facts, look at the returns, look at the risk element, look at the reward element, and make your own decision. Personally, I think it's probably one of the top 5 projects that Exclusive Hot Properties has, but we are master agents for the project, and the developers are good friends of mine. Other than that, you'll find the details for our company and contact details shortly after this video ends. Please have a look. Feel free to contact me, one of my team, if you have any questions you're interested in finding out more. And all I can say is a great thank you very much for watching. Thank you.